Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be making chili mac and cheese. I'm in my robe. I'm pressed for time. I have a lot of work I still have to get done today and it's already after 2. But I figured I would film this video quickly. It's a pretty quick recipe. I'm modifying the recipe a little bit to suit my needs and to use up some stuff that I have, and to keep it a little bit lower in points, but I will definitely link the original recipe below. You can follow whatever version of it you want. You can add whatever you want, take away whatever you want. I have my little Ninja cooker, if any of you are familiar with this. This has a setting for stovetop and slow cooker. I do have it on stovetop medium right now. I'm trying to brown up my meat. I have some ground beef. This is lean ground beef, and some sausage in here. I'm not going to use all of this stuff that's in here, but it was frozen, so it was a little bit difficult for me to portion it out. But once it's browned, I'm going to portion out 6 ounces of it, and I'm going to put it back in here and then add everything else to the pot. I don't have any oil added to the bottom of this pan because I don't think that I'm going to need it, because the sausage probably has quite a bit of fat in it. It is not a low-fat sausage. It is not a turkey sausage. It's just something that I had in the freezer and I'm trying to use it up, so I'm adding it. The recipe does only call for ground beef. You could use ground turkey if you wanted, and I do believe I've made this recipe before where I've added diced up chicken instead of ground beef or turkey. So you can do whatever you want, but super quick and easy. I'm going to brown all of this up, and then, like I said, I will add everything else. I'm only going to add 4 ounces, I did weigh it out, of elbow macaroni. It calls for garlic, diced up onion that I had. I'm probably going to use a good bit. Calls for cumin, chili powder. A lot of these things you probably already have on hand, and I believe I've also made this once without any meat at all. So if you have no protein to add to it, you'd still be fine. Adding crushed pepper flakes does not call for that, but I like them. It calls for parsley. I'm completely out of parsley for once in my life, so I'm just going to use some Italian seasoning. Calls for salt and pepper to taste. I'm going to add a can of diced tomatoes. This is a 14.5-ounce can. Kidney beans. I believe it calls for 2 types of beans, but I literally only have 1 can of kidney beans, so that is all I'm adding. This is also... Nope, this is a 15.5-ounce can of beans. I am going to drain these and rinse them. It does call for, I believe, 4 cups of chicken broth. The recipe says to use 10 ounces of elbow pasta, but I'm trying to be sparing here. Use my pasta noodles sparingly because they are points. I'm on the green plan, so I don't really need it to be super heavy in the noodle. No, it calls for cheddar cheese, but I believe the cheddar cheese, it says to put it in there like at the very end, but I'm going to add mine to each individual serving and cheese to it. This does only make 4 servings according to the recipe. I don't know, I may be able to get more servings out of it than that, but I'll let everybody know at the end. I did brown up my sausage and my ground beef. I have it in here. I measured out 6 ounces. That's really the only reason I removed it from the pan. And as you can see, there's oil in the bottom of it, and that's because, again, I didn't use just the ground beef. I used regular sausage as well. I'm adding a good bit of onion. I don't measure onion out. I like onion, so I'm going to brown this up with some garlic, and I think it's a very flavorful recipe. It is a 1-pot recipe, so you don't have to dirty a bunch of dishes, and it's even faster when you're not filming it. So if you're trying to get a dinner done quickly for your family or yourself, like me, then it's super quick, super easy. I'm gonna add my 1 can of rinsed, drained kidney beans. I believe the recipe states a can of kidney and a can of cannellini beans, but I honestly never ever purchase cannellini beans. So I really mostly just use kidney beans for like everything. In my opinion, most beans, especially black and kidney, to me, I think they taste very similar, so I don't purchase several different kinds of beans. Chili powder, I don't measure. I'm dumping a good bit in here because I like mine really spicy and flavorful, and obviously I will link the recipe below. Not everybody's going to want it like this. I will taste this after it cooks for a bit and check for seasonings. I added a good bit of pepper flake. I honestly feel like 4 servings of this is going to be a pretty big serving, but especially if you're using 10 ounces of pasta noodle. But I don't know. I've never really made it with the full measurements because it's really just me, but you can certainly feel free to do it any way you'd like. I am going to add 4 cups of water, which I did measure out. I'm going to be adding this base from Sam's. This is beef base. I have chicken base, and I think it calls for chicken, but I don't know. I just feel like this is more of a beefy kind of meal instead of a chicken. So I'm just adding some beef base. And I'm not measuring it again. I'm just gonna toss it in there and hope for the best. Go ahead and taste it for seasoning and find out if I need to add any more beef base. To add my pasta noodles. That is it. I mean, this is really easy except for cheese, which, like I said, I'm gonna pop that on the top to save on calories. I will likely be back later in my robe because that's how I work when I'm at home. I spend 90% of my life in my robe, so I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. This is real life. I'm busy today. I don't have time to put on a different set of clothes to film, but I did want to film this. I was gonna film yesterday, but my friend was here yesterday and we were hanging out, and I ended up just making spaghetti last night instead of what I had planned to make. You know, that's just life. But as I said, I'm super busy. This is a really quick, easy recipe. Dump everything in one pot. It would have been a lot faster had my meat already been unthawed, but it wasn't. And yeah, that's it. I'm going to let this cook. I will be back later to taste it. This is what it looks like. I think that the addition of the sausage adds a different level of flavor to it. I've never added the sausage to it before, but it adds extra flavor, and I kind of like that. So I might make it that way next time too. I swear that the recipe said it made 4 servings, but this is a lot of food for 4 servings. So, and I only made it with a lot less noodle and only 1 can of beans. So you might want to divide it up into more if you're really hungry, I guess. But if you're going to do the recipe exactly as it states, you'll need to redo your points because I did not factor it today that way. Like I said, I'm in a time crunch, so I only factored the points for the way that I specifically made it, with 6 ounces of meat and 4 ounces of noodle, 1 can of bean. So we will see. Also, I want to make a note. If you don't like your food spicy, I highly recommend that you use the seasoning setting, the seasoning measurements that are actually in the recipe, because I dumped it in there and I added pepper flakes, and mine is spicy because I did taste it just briefly for the seasoning level, and it's spicy. Like, my nose was running and I only took a couple bites. So definitely do not do what I did unless you like it spicy, because it is overpowering that way. But like I said, I like it that way, so, and I'm the only one eating it. This is what it looks like. Now, you could add more broth if you wanted. You could add less if you wanted it to be more of like a stew. I think that some of the liquid did get absorbed. So it's still kind of soupy, but I would also add cheese to my serving when I actually sit down to really eat for dinner. But it does call, I think, for the cheese to go directly into the soup, the stew, whatever it is. It'll also help to kind of thicken it and make it a little bit more creamy, but I'm not going to use the cheese that way because I don't want to add that many more points. If I do divide this up into 4 servings, it is 8 points on green, 6 on blue, and 6 on purple, but it will definitely depend on the type of beans that you add, how many noodles you decide to use. I think on purple or blue, I don't know, one of the plans, if you use whole wheat pasta, then I don't think you have to count for it. So there's a lot of determining factors that will determine how many points. But like I said, I don't really know how much this is going to make. I'm not going to take the time right this second to measure it out. But as it stands, 1/4 of this pot, which is huge, is 8 points. So that would be a lot of pasta or mac and cheese. So I'm going to get right down to it because I know you're tired of listening to me talk. It's good. It's spicy. So don't make that mistake unless you like heat. It's not bad with the beef broth. It did call for chicken, but I used beef, but no big deal. Use whatever you have. Make it your own. Add extra tomato if you want. Less pasta. No meat. Add different meat. I had sausage and meat. I added 3 ounces of really lean ground beef. I think it was like 93.7, and the sausage was like full fat pork sausage. I don't know. I had it in the freezer. I threw it in. It was about 3 ounces of each. So yeah, super easy, 1 pot. If you're short on time, it has a lot of flavor. Be really good with the cheese. So thank you very much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Definitely hit the like up button and subscribe for another video whenever that may be. So thank you for stopping by again, and please come back for more.